Rachel Hartford's hands shook as she stepped off the stagecoach into Wyoming dust, her daughter's silent tears soaking through her worn dress. She had $3, 2 starving children, and nowhere left to run. Every woman in Carbon County had tried to win James Coleman's heart flowers, Pie's batting eyelashes all sent away with cold refusals. But Rachel didn't bring sweetness. She walked straight to the notorious rancher, looked him dead in the eye, and asked the one question that would crack open the fortress he'd built around his heart. "You want a wife, Mr. Coleman, or just another winter alone?" Friends, if you're drawn to stories of second chances and the kind of love that's built on raw honesty rather than pretty lies, hit that subscribe button right now. This is a 2-hour journey through the hardest winter Wyoming ever saw, and I promise you, it'll be worth every minute. Drop a comment telling me what city you're watching from. I love seeing how far these frontier tales travel. Now settle in, because what happened next changed 4 lives forever. The October wind had teeth. Rachel Hartford felt every bite as she stood in the dirt street of Carterville, Wyoming, watching the stagecoach that had brought her here disappear into the distance. Her last connection to everything she'd known. Gone. "Mama." Sam's voice cracked that terrible in-between sound of a boy trying to be a man. "Where do we go?" She didn't answer. Couldn't. Because the truth was, she didn't know. Lottie pressed against her skirt, silent as always. The child hadn't spoken a full sentence to anyone but Rachel and Sam since that night 18 months ago. The night Daniel had bled out in a Denver alley while his daughter watched from the wagon. "Mrs. Hartford." A woman emerged from the general store, wiping flour-dusted hands on her apron. Round face, kind eyes, too much curiosity. "I'm Dorothy Chen. You wrote about a room." "Yes." Rachel forced her spine straight. Pride was a luxury she couldn't afford, but dignity cost nothing. "If it's still available." "It is, but..." Dorothy's eyes traveled over them. The mended dress, the children's 2 thin frames, the single carpet bag that held everything they owned. "I'll be honest with you. The room's $5 a week. That includes breakfast, but nothing else." $5. Rachel had 3. "I'll have it by week's end," she said. "I'm looking for work." Dorothy's expression shifted to something like pity. "There's not much work in Carterville for a woman alone. Mrs. Patterson needs laundry done, but she only pays in meals. The saloon's always hiring, but..." "No." The word came out sharp. Rachel softened it. "Thank you, but no." "Then I don't rightly know what to tell you." Dorothy glanced at the children. "There's the boarding house for now. First night's on the house, but after that..." "Mrs. Chen." A man's voice, rough as gravel. "Your husband needs help with that flower delivery." Dorothy's face brightened. "Oh, Pete, thank goodness. These sacks are too heavy for..." She turned back to Rachel. "Come on then, let's get you settled." But Rachel wasn't looking at Dorothy anymore. Across the street, leaning against a fence post, like he'd been carved from the same wood, stood a man. Tall, maybe 35. Face weathered by sun and harder things. He wore his hat low, but she could feel his eyes on her. Measuring, assessing. "That's James Coleman," Dorothy said quietly, following her gaze. "Calls himself Cole. Owns the biggest spread outside town." "Is he married?" Dorothy laughed. "Cole Coleman? Lord, no. Every eligible woman in 3 counties has tried. He sent Sally Morrison home in tears, told Widow Brennan she was too old to learn ranching, and when the banker's daughter brought him a cake, he fed it to his hogs." Rachel watched him. He hadn't moved, but his attention had shifted. Now he was looking at Sam, who stood protective beside his mother. Then at Lottie, who'd found a stick and was drawing patterns in the dirt. "Why?" Rachel asked. "Why what? Why does he refuse them all?" Dorothy shrugged. "Some say a woman broke his heart years back. Some say he's just mean-spirited. I say he's forgotten how to be human. Man's been alone on that ranch for near a decade. Built it himself, talks to no one, comes to town once a week for supplies and nothing more. Rachel made a decision. The kind of decision born from having no other choices. "Watch my children," she said, handing Dorothy her bag. "What? Where are you?" But Rachel was already walking. Her boots kicked up dust as she crossed the street. She felt eyes on her, the whole town watching. Good. Let them watch. She'd learned in Philadelphia that witnesses made people behave. And she'd learned in the months since Daniel's death that sometimes the only way through was forward. Coleman straightened as she approached. Up close, he was bigger than she'd thought. Broader. The kind of man who'd spent years doing hard labor. His hands were scarred, his face unreadable. "Mr. Coleman," she said. "Ma'am." His voice matched his appearance, rough, unused to conversation. "My name is Rachel Hartford. Those are my children, Samuel and Charlotte. We arrived today from Denver." He said nothing, just waited. "I'm looking for work," she continued. "Dorothy Chen says there isn't much available for a woman alone." "That's true. I'm a hard worker. I can cook, clean, mend, manage accounts. I taught school for 2 years before I married. I can read, write, cipher." "That's so." She'd expected more resistance. His silence was worse, like talking to a wall. "I heard you've refused every woman who's approached you." Something flickered in his eyes. "News travels. I'm not approaching you as those women did." She met his gaze directly. "I'm not offering romance or companionship or whatever else they thought you needed. I'm offering work. Good, honest work in exchange for room and board for myself and my children. I work alone." "You're also coming into winter. Winter on a ranch requires more hands, not fewer." His jaw tightened. "Your boy's too young, girl's too small." "My son is 11 and stronger than he looks. My daughter is quiet but capable. And I guarantee you, Mr. Coleman, I can work harder than any man you'd hire." "That's a bold claim." "It's the truth. Because I don't have the luxury of pride anymore. I have 2 children who need feeding. I've got $3 to my name and nowhere to go if you say no." She saw it then, the crack in his armor. Just for a second something moved behind his eyes. "Why me?" he asked. "There are other ranchers. Pete Sawyer drinks. Bill Harrison already has a full crew. Jack Brennan." She'd heard about Brennan. "Is a man I'd sooner starve than work for." Smart. "And you," she continued, "are the only man in this town who hasn't tried to charm me, offer me false comfort, or look at me like I'm a problem to be solved. You look at me like I'm a person, someone who might be useful." He studied her for a long moment. "You're saying you want business, not charity." "Yes." "And your children understand that?" "They understand survival, Mr. Coleman. We've been doing it for 18 months. Across the street, Sam had moved closer, ready to defend his mother if needed. Lottie still drew in the dirt, but her eyes kept darting up, watching. "Your husband," Coleman said. "How'd he die?" The question was blunt. Anyone else would have called it rude. Rachel appreciated the directness. "Murdered. Robbery. Denver." "I'm sorry." "I don't need sorry. I need work." His mouth almost twitched. Might have been the start of a smile. "You're plain spoken. I don't have time for anything else." He pushed off the fence post. "My ranch is 7 miles out. Isolated. Nearest neighbor is 4 miles. No school nearby, no church, no women's social clubs." "Good." That did make him pause. "Good. I've had enough of neighbors and their opinions, churches and their judgment, social clubs and their pity. Isolation sounds perfect." He looked at her children again. "The boy, he know how to work? He's learning, fast." "The girl, she always that quiet?" Rachel's protective instinct flared. "She speaks when she needs to." "Didn't say it was bad. Just asking." "Charlotte saw her father killed," Rachel said quietly. "She hasn't been the same since, but she's not broken, Mr. Coleman. Just careful." He nodded slowly. Something in his face softened. "I understand, careful. For a moment, they just stood there. Two careful people, each carrying damage, assessing whether trust was possible. "I'll pay room and board," he said finally. "Food, shelter, protection. In exchange, you keep house-cooked meals, tend what needs tending. The boy works with me, learns ranching. The girl does what she can." "For how long?" "1 month trial. After that, we reassess. If it's not working, I'll pay stage fare to wherever you want to go next." It was more than she'd hoped for, less than she needed, but it was something. "There's one more thing," she said. His eyebrows raised slightly. "Ma'am, I need to know you won't hurt them. My children. I've spent the last year and a half keeping them safe, and I won't—" "I don't hit kids," he interrupted. "Don't hit women. Don't touch what's not mine to touch. You and yours will be safe under my roof. You have my word." "Why should I trust your word?" "Because if I was going to lie, I'd make it sound prettier." Despite everything, Rachel almost smiled. "That's fair." "Is that a yes, Mrs. Hartford?" She thought of her $3, the boarding house she couldn't afford, the winter coming, the hunger in her children's eyes they tried to hide. "It's a yes," she said. "But I have a question first. Just one. Do you want a wife, Mr. Coleman? Or just another winter alone?" The words hung in the cold air between them. His face went carefully blank. "That's a strange question." "It's the only question that matters. Because every woman in this county has tried to win your heart. I'm not interested in your heart, but I need to know what you're really looking for." "I'm looking for help with the ranch." "No." She shook her head. "You're looking for something else. Maybe you don't even know what, but I need to understand before I bring my children into your home." He was quiet for so long she thought he wouldn't answer. Then, "I don't want a wife. I had that once. Didn't end well." "What do you want?" "Not to be alone," he said finally. "But not to be hurt either. So I stay by myself. Safer that way." "Lonelier too." "Loneliness doesn't betray you." Rachel understood that. God, did she understand that? "No, it just kills you slower." Their eyes met. In that moment, she saw past the roughness, the walls, the decade of isolation. She saw someone like her. Someone who'd survived something terrible and decided safety was worth the cost of connection. "1 month," he said again. "Business arrangement. Nothing more." "Nothing more," she agreed, but they both knew it was a lie. By the time Rachel collected her children and their single bag, a crowd had gathered. Small towns had one true talent: gossip. "Did you see that? Bold as brass, walking right up to Coleman? Wonder what she said? Poor thing's desperate, you can tell." Rachel ignored them all. She'd learned that lesson too. People would talk regardless. Better to give them something worth talking about. "Sam, Lottie, come." Sam grabbed the bag. Lottie took her mother's hand, her small fingers cold. "Mrs. Hartford." Dorothy Chen hurried over. Are you—" "We're employed," Rachel said. "Thank you for your kindness, Mrs. Chen." "Employed at the Coleman Ranch." Dorothy's eyes widened. "But he no one's ever—" "Apparently there's a first time for everything." Coleman had already started toward a wagon. Rachel followed her children, shadowing her steps. "Sam in back," Coleman said, not looking at them. "You and the girl up front." Sam started to protest, protective as always, but Rachel silenced him with a look. The wagon was well maintained. Everything about Coleman seemed that way. Functional, efficient, no wasted effort. He helped her up with a brief touch to her elbow, then lifted Lottie like she weighed nothing. "Thank you," Rachel said. He just nodded. The ride out of town was silent, except for the wagon wheels and horse hooves. Rachel felt every eye on them. She held her head high. "They're going to talk," she said finally. "Let them. It doesn't bother you. I stopped caring what Carterville thought a long time ago." "Fair enough." The landscape opened up as they left town. rolling grasslands stretching toward mountains in the distance. It was beautiful in a harsh way. Empty, clean, honest. "It's big," Sam said from the back. "That it is," Coleman replied. "How big is your ranch?" 300 acres. Not the biggest, but it's mine. All of it. Rachel heard the pride in those words. A man who'd built something from nothing. "What do you raise?" she asked. "Cattle mostly. Some horses. Chickens, though I lost the last flock to a fox. Garden in summer, though I'm no good at it." "I can garden? That'd be useful." The conversation lapsed again. Lottie had leaned against Rachel's side, exhausted from the journey. Her daughter's breathing evened out. Sleep. "She all right?" Coleman asked, glancing over. "Tired. We've been traveling for 3 weeks. From Denver. Through Denver. We started in Philadelphia." His eyebrows rose. "That's a far piece." "I had to get far. Fresh start required distance." He seemed to understand that. "What did you leave behind?" "Debt. Judgmental in-laws. Memories." She paused. "What about you? What made you come to Wyoming?" "Same as you. Needed distance." "From what?" He was quiet long enough that she thought he wouldn't answer. Then, "From who I used to be." Rachel understood that too. The ranch appeared gradually. First a barn solid and well-built, then a house larger than she'd expected, 2 stories wraparound porch. It looked lonely somehow, like it was waiting for something. "You built this?" she asked. "Most of it. Had help with the barn." "It's impressive." "It's shelter." But it was more than that. She could see it in the careful construction, the thought put into placement and design. This wasn't just a house. It was a hope once. A dream that hadn't quite died, just been abandoned. Coleman pulled the wagon to a stop. "Welcome to the Coleman Ranch." Sam jumped down, looking around with wide eyes. Rachel gently woke Lottie, who blinked sleepily. "Come on, sweetheart. We're here." Here was such a relative word. They were somewhere, certainly. Whether it was home remained to be seen. Coleman lifted down their bag. "I'll show you the house, get you settled." "Thank you." The inside was clean, but sparse. A man's space functional without comfort. The kitchen was well equipped, the furniture sturdy if dust-covered. "Upstairs," Coleman said, leading them up. 3 bedrooms, mine's at the end. You and the girl can take this one." He opened a door to a decent-sized room with a large bed. "Boy can have the smaller one next door." Sam peeked into his room. Rachel watched his face transform. "My own room." "That's right." "I've never—" Sam stopped himself. "Thank you, sir." "Thank me by working hard." "Yes, sir. I will, sir." Rachel explored their room. The bed was good quality. The window faced east morning light. There was even a chair by the window, perfect for mending. "It's more than adequate," she said. "There's water in the pump works year-round. Stove in the kitchen, root cellars stocked, smokehouse out back. You'll need to inventory everything, see what's needed for winter." "I can do that." "Good." He paused in the doorway. "Dinner's usually at sundown. I'm not particular about what, just that it's hot and filling." "Understood." He started to leave, then stopped. "Mrs. Hartford?" "Yes." "That question you asked, in town. About wanting a wife or winter alone?" "Yeah." He looked uncomfortable. "The answer's neither. I want—" He struggled with the words. "I want someone I can trust not to leave." Before she could respond, he was gone, his boots heavy on the stairs. Rachel sat on the bed, Lottie curling immediately against her side. Sam appeared in the doorway, uncertain. "Mama, is this real?" "I think so, baby." "What if he changes his mind?" "Then we'll deal with it. But for now we have a month. A whole month of food and shelter and safety." "He seems—" Sam searched for words. "Hard." "Not hard. Protected. There's a difference." "How do you know?" Rachel thought about Coleman's eyes when he'd talked about not wanting to be alone, but not wanting to be hurt. About the house he'd built for a family that never came. About the careful way he'd lifted Lottie into the wagon. "Because I recognize it," she said. "He's like us, just surviving." "Is surviving enough?" Sam asked quietly. It was the question she'd been asking herself for 18 months. Since Daniel died. Since the world had gotten smaller and harder and colder. "For now," she said. "For now, surviving is enough." But as she held her children and looked around the room, their room at least for a month, she wondered if maybe surviving could become something more. If maybe this hard, careful man and her broken little family might find a way to do more than just endure. Outside, she heard Coleman moving around. Purposeful. Steady. The sound of someone who'd learned to do everything alone. Rachel closed her eyes. "God," she whispered. "If you're listening, let this work. Let us stay. Let him be who I think he is." Lottie stirred. "Mama, I like it here." It was the most her daughter had said in weeks. "I like it too, baby." And maybe, just maybe, that was enough to start with. Rachel woke before dawn. Old habit. The kind burned into you when survival depends on being one step ahead of disaster. The room was dark cold. Lottie slept curled against her like a comma, small and warm. Through the thin walls, Rachel heard nothing. Coleman was either still asleep or already gone. She slipped from bed, careful not to wake her daughter. Her feet found the cold floor, and she dressed quickly in the darkness. The same mended dress, the same worn boots. Tomorrow she'd need to assess their clothing situation. Winter was coming, and what they had wouldn't be enough. Downstairs, the kitchen was empty, but felt recently occupied. The stove still held warmth. A coffee pot sat on the surface half full. Coleman had been here. Rachel found wood stacked neatly by the stove and built up the fire. While it caught, she explored the pantry and root cellar by lamplight. He hadn't exaggerated about being stocked. Flour, cornmeal, dried beans, preserves in neat rows. Potatoes and onions in bins. Smoked meat hanging in the shed. This was a man who understood preparation. She was pulling out ingredients for breakfast when boots sounded on the porch. Coleman entered, hat dusted with frost. "You're up early." "Habit." "Good habit." He hung his hat. "Stock's fed. Was going to start breakfast, but—" "I'll do it. That's what you hired me for." He nodded, moving to wash his hands at the pump. "Boy still sleeping?" "Yes. Should I wake him?" "Let him rest another hour. He'll need his strength." Coleman sat at the table. "You know your way around a kitchen. I managed a household for 7 years, Mr. Coleman. I think I can handle breakfast." "Fair enough." She worked efficiently, mixing biscuit dough, frying salt pork, setting coffee to boil. He watched in silence, not uncomfortable, just present. "You sleep all right?" he asked finally. "Well enough. The bed's good." "It should be. Built it myself." "You built the furniture too?" "Most of it. Winters are long. A man needs projects." Rachel slid biscuits into the oven. Winters in Philadelphia were cold, but not like this, I'd imagine. "Nothing's like winter here. You'll see." It sounded like a warning. Sam appeared in the doorway, hair sticking up, eyes uncertain. "Mama." "Good morning, baby. Come sit." "I'm not a baby," Sam muttered, but he obeyed. Coleman studied him. "You sleep?" "Yes, sir." "Good. After breakfast you're with me. We're mending fence on the north pasture." Sam straightened. "Yes, sir." "You know anything about fence work?" "No, sir. But I can learn." "That's the right answer." Coleman turned to Rachel. "The girl, Lottie, will help me here. Inventory, cleaning, organizing." "She talk yet?" Rachel's hand tightened on the spatula. "When she's ready." "Didn't mean offense. Just asking." "She talks to me and Sam. That's enough for now." Coleman nodded slowly. "My nephew was like that after his mother died. Took him near 2 years to speak to anyone else. Then one day he just did. The information surprised her. You have a nephew. Had. He's grown now, moved to California. But yeah, I understand quiet children. Lottie appeared then as if summoned by the conversation. She stood in the doorway clutching her cloth doll, watching Coleman with wide eyes. Morning, Charlotte, he said quietly. Lottie didn't respond, just moved to her mother's side. It's all right, Rachel murmured. Mr. Coleman's not going to hurt you. Never, Coleman said. He stood moving deliberately to give the child space. I'm going to wash up. Be back in 5. After he left, Rachel knelt beside her daughter. Lottie, look at me. The child's eyes met hers. We're safe here. Do you understand Mr. Coleman's not like... She couldn't say the name, couldn't bring that night into this kitchen. He's not going to hurt us. Lottie nodded slowly. You don't have to talk to him, but you don't have to be afraid either. Another nod. Good girl. Breakfast was quiet, but not tense. Coleman ate with focus, not wasting time. Sam copied him, trying to match the man's economy of movement. Lottie picked at her food until Rachel gave her a look, and she ate properly. Mrs. Hartford, Coleman said, pushing back his plate. That was good, real good. Thank you. Been a while since I had a hot meal I didn't cook myself. He stood. Sam, get your coat. Time to work. Yes, sir. Sam jumped up eager. And Sam? Sir. You call me Cole. Mr. Coleman is too formal for men working side by side. Sam's face lit up. Yes, Cole. After they left, Rachel and Lottie cleaned the kitchen in companionable silence. Then they started the inventory Cole had requested. Every shelf, every bin, every jar. Rachel made lists in her careful hand, noting what was plentiful and what they'd need before winter truly hit. Mama, look! Lottie held up a jar of preserves. Peaches. We'll save those for something special. Christmas? The word hit Rachel like a fist. Christmas. She hadn't thought that far ahead. Hadn't let herself imagine still being here in 2 months. Maybe, she said carefully. We'll see. They worked through the morning. Around noon, Rachel made sandwiches and sweet tea. She found Cole's work gloves by the door and used them to gauge where he and Sam might be. The north pasture, he'd said. She had no idea where that was. Lottie, stay here. I'm going to bring the men their lunch. Her daughter's eyes went wide with fear. I'll be quick. Lock the door behind me. Don't open it for anyone but me. Understand? Lottie nodded. Rachel wrapped the sandwiches, filled a canteen with tea, and stepped outside. The wind cut through her thin dress immediately. She'd need a heavier coat. Add it to the list. She could see fence line in the distance. 2 figures working. As she got closer, she heard their voices. No, like this. Hammer at an angle so the wire doesn't snap. Like this. Better. You're getting it. She topped a small rise and saw them. Cole was bent over a fence post showing Sam how to secure wire. Her son's face was intense with concentration. His hands, she noticed, were already red and probably blistering. I brought lunch, she called. Both turned. Cole straightened, wiping sweat despite the cold. Didn't have to do that, he said. You have to eat. Mama. Sam ran over. Cole's teaching me everything. Did you know there's a right way and a wrong way to set posts? And the wire has to be tight enough but not too tight or it'll break when the cattle push against it and... Breathe Sam. Sorry. But he was grinning. Actually, grinning. Rachel couldn't remember the last time she'd seen that. They sat on a fallen log eating. Cole devoured his sandwich like a man who'd forgotten about food. Sam copied him, though, with more enthusiasm than grace. He's doing good, Cole said quietly. Strong for his age. He's had to be. That's not always fair, though, being strong when you're young. Rachel looked at him. Were you? Had to be. Lost my parents at 12, raised by an uncle who believed hard work built character. His mouth twisted. He wasn't entirely wrong. What happened to him, your uncle? Died when I was 20. Left me this land and not much else. Been building it ever since. Alone. Seemed easier that way. Easier or safer? He met her eyes. You don't pull punches, do you? Can't afford to. No, he agreed. I suppose you can't. Sam finished his sandwich and jumped up. Can we get back to work? You said you'd show me how to check for rot in the posts. Cole almost smiled. All right then, Mrs. Hartford will be done by sundown. I'll have dinner ready. She walked back to the house, feeling his eyes on her until she crested the hill. When she glanced back, he was already working again, Sam beside him like a shadow learning to match the original. The afternoon passed in domestic routine. Rachel cleaned years of bachelor neglect from the house. She found curtains packed away and hung them. Located his mother's dishes, she could tell by the delicate pattern, and washed them carefully. Made bread because the bin was low and he'd need it. Lottie helped without being asked. She was good at that. Anticipating needs, reading situations, survival skills learned too young. Mama, this house is sad, Lottie said suddenly. Rachel paused in her scrubbing. What do you mean? It's like it's waiting for something that never came. Children saw things adults tried to hide. Maybe, Rachel said. But maybe we can make it less sad. How? By living in it. Really living, not just existing. Lottie considered this. Do you think Mr. Cole wants us to stay? I don't know, baby, but we have a month to find out. The sun was setting when the men returned. Rachel heard them on the porch. Cole's deep voice and Sam's higher one discussing fence posts and cattle and tools. Normal things. Father-son things. Her chest tightened. They came in stamping dirt from their boots. Sam's face was flushed with cold and pride. Cole looked tired but satisfied. Wash up, Rachel said. Dinner's almost ready. Yes, ma'am, they said in unison. At the table, Sam couldn't stop talking. And Cole says next week he'll teach me to ride properly, not just sitting on a horse, but really riding. And did you know? Cattle can smell water from a mile away. And there's a whole system for rotating pastures so the grass doesn't get overgrazed. Sam, Rachel interrupted gently, let Mr. Cole eat. It's fine, Cole said. Boy's got enthusiasm. That's good. I've never worked so hard, Sam admitted. My hands hurt. Let me see. Sam held out his palms. Raw blistered the beginning of calluses. You should have said something, Cole said, frowning. I didn't want you to think I couldn't handle it. Blisters mean you're working. They'll toughen up. He looked at Rachel. You got any salve? I'll make some after dinner. There's some in the barn. Old recipe my uncle used. Works better than anything. He turned back to Sam. Tomorrow we'll wrap your hands before we start. No point in making them worse. But we're still working tomorrow. Course, fence doesn't mend itself. Sam beamed. After dinner, Cole disappeared to the barn and returned with a tin of strong-smelling salve. He sat at the table with Sam applying it to the boy's hands with surprising gentleness. This'll sting at first, he warned. Sam hissed, but didn't pull away. You did good today, Cole said quietly. Real good. Most boys your age would have quit after the first hour. I've quit too many things, Sam said. After Pa died, I couldn't protect Mama or Lottie. I couldn't keep us from losing everything. I couldn't make the bad things stop happening. Cole's hands stilled. Boy, you were 9 when your father died. None of that was your job. But I'm the man now. I should... You're a boy learning to be a man. There's a difference. Cole finished bandaging one hand, started on the other. Being a man isn't about never failing. It's about getting back up. And from what I can see, you've gotten up more times than most adults I know. Sam's eyes were wet. Really? Really? Your mother raised you right. You work hard, you don't complain, you try to protect your family. Those are man qualities. The rest just takes time. Rachel, standing at the sink washing dishes, felt her throat tighten. This hard, isolated man was giving her son something precious. Permission to be young. Permission to learn. Permission to not carry the world alone. "Thank you," Sam whispered. "Welcome. Now get some sleep. Tomorrow comes early." After Sam went upstairs, Cole helped Rachel clean up. They worked in silence until everything was done. "You didn't have to do that," she said finally. "With Sam's hands. Boy needed tending." "No, the other part. What you said about being a man." Cole set down the towel. "He's carrying too much. I recognize the weight." "You carried it too." "Yeah, and it near broke me. I won't watch it happen to someone else if I can help it." Rachel turned to face him fully. "Who was she?" "What?" "The woman who left. The one who made you decide alone was safer." His jaw tightened. "That's not your business." "You're right, it's not." She dried her hands. "But you should know something, Cole. We're not staying just for room and board. Sam's already attached to you. In one day you became someone he looks up to, someone he wants to make proud. I didn't ask for that." "No, but you got it anyway. So you need to decide now if you're going to let him down in a month when this arrangement ends, or if you're going to be honest about what this really is." "What is it?" he asked. "A chance, for all of us, to be more than just survivors." She left him standing in the kitchen, his face unreadable. Upstairs, Lottie was already asleep. Sam was in his room door cracked open. Rachel looked in and saw him staring at his bandaged hands like they were medals. "Mama," he whispered. "I thought you were asleep." He sat up. "Is this real? Or are we going to have to leave?" "I don't know, baby. I like it here. I like Cole. Sam struggled for words. "He's like how I remember Pa, but different. Stronger, maybe. Or just available," Rachel finished. "Your father loved you, Sam. But he was always working, always stressed, always worried about money. And then he died trying to get more money." The bitterness in his voice was new and painful. The men who killed him were evil. That wasn't about money. That was about cruelty. "I know. But if we'd had enough, he wouldn't have been walking home alone in the dark. He would have had a carriage, protection, something." Rachel sat on the edge of his bed. "We can't live in what if, Sam. We can only live in what is." "What is this? What are we doing here?" "Surviving. For now. Maybe more later. But surviving is enough." He lay back down. "Cole said I did good today." "You did. I'm proud of you." "I'm going to work so hard, Mama. So hard that he'll want us to stay." Her heart broke a little. "Baby, that's not how it works. We can't make people want us. But we can be useful. We can be worth keeping." She kissed his forehead. "You're worth keeping just by existing, Sam. Don't ever forget that." But after she left his room, she wondered if she believed her own words, because hadn't she been operating on the same principle? Be useful enough, work hard enough, and maybe they won't throw you away. She checked on Lottie still sleeping, then moved to her own side of the bed. Through the walls, she heard Cole moving around his room. The creak of floorboards, a window opening, the sound of a man too restless to sleep. Join the club, she thought. The next few days fell into rhythm. Cole and Sam worked from dawn to dusk. Rachel and Lottie managed the house and slowly transformed it from a space into a home. Meals were quiet but comfortable. Evening chores became routine. On the third day, Cole taught Sam to shoot. "It's a tool," he said, handing the boy a rifle. "Like a hammer or a saw. You respect it, learn it, master it, but it's just a tool." "Yes, sir." "And if you ever point it at something, you better be ready to pull the trigger. Hesitation gets people killed." Sam's face paled. "Have you killed people?" "One. During the war. Don't like to think about it much." "Was it hard?" "Yes, and it should be. Day it gets easy is the day you've lost something important." They practiced for 2 hours. Sam was a natural, his hands steady, his focus intense. When he hit 3 targets in a row, Cole actually smiled. "You've got good instincts," he said. "Trust them." That evening, Rachel found Cole on the porch, smoking a hand-rolled cigarette. "I didn't know you smoked," she said. "I don't. Mostly. Just when I'm thinking." "What are you thinking about?" He took a long drag. "Your boy asked me today if I had children of my own." "What did you tell him?" "The truth. That I don't. That I was supposed to, but things didn't work out that way." Rachel leaned against the porch rail. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple, beautiful and cold. "Her name was Elizabeth," Cole said suddenly. "We were engaged. I built this house for her. For us. For the family we were going to have." "What happened?" "She left, met a cattle buyer passing through town, richer, more charming, heading to San Francisco. She went with him. No goodbye. No explanation. Just gone. I'm sorry. I'm not asking for sympathy. Just explaining why I am the way I am. You don't have to explain yourself to me. Maybe not. But you asked me to be honest about what this is. So I'm being honest. Elizabeth leaving taught me that people don't stay. That loving someone just gives them power to hurt you. So I stopped loving. Stopped trying. Stopped wanting. Until we showed up." He looked at her then. Really looked. "Until you showed up and asked me the one question I couldn't answer." "Do you have an answer now?" "No. But I'm starting to think maybe I asked the wrong question." "What do you mean?" "I was asking myself what I wanted. But maybe the real question is what I'm brave enough to want." Rachel understood that. God, did she understand that? "I'm not her," she said quietly. "Elizabeth, I'm not going to leave for someone better." "How do you know?" "Because there isn't anyone better. There's just different. And different doesn't interest me anymore. I'm too tired to start over again somewhere else. To learn new rules, new people, new survival strategies." "So you're staying out of exhaustion." "I'm staying because this feels right. Because Sam smiles again. Because Lottie drew a picture today, first time since Daniel died. Because I wake up without dread. That's enough reason." Cole stubbed out his cigarette. "It's been 3 days, Rachel." The use of her first name startled her, made something warm bloom in her chest. "I know. But I've learned to trust my instincts fast. Slow decisions got me hurt before." "What are your instincts saying?" She met his eyes. "That you're scared. That you want us to stay, but you're preparing for us to leave. That you're already building walls even as you're teaching my son to be a man." "You see too much." "I've had to. Survival requires observation." He was quiet for a long moment. Then, "What if I asked you to stay, not for a month, longer, through winter at least?" Her heart skipped. "Are you asking?" "I'm thinking about it." "Think faster. Winter's coming and I need to know if we're preparing to stay or preparing to leave." "Fair enough." He turned to face her fully. "Stay. Through winter. We'll figure out spring when it comes." "That's not much of a commitment." "It's all I've got right now." Rachel considered. 3 days ago she'd had nothing. No home, no hope, $3 and 2 hungry children. Now she had a roof, food safety, and a man offering winter. "All right," she said. "Through winter." Just like that. "What else do you want me to say?" "Most women would want more. Promises, declarations, certainty." "I'm not most women. And certainty's a lie anyway. I'll take winter." Something in his face shifted. Relief, maybe. Or fear. Both. "There's one condition," he said. "What?" "The town's going to talk. About you being here. About us. It'll get ugly. Let it. They'll call you my mistress. Say worse things about the children. Sam especially, they'll make assumptions. Then we'll prove them wrong." "How?" Rachel took a breath. She was about to suggest something crazy, but desperate times called for desperate measures. We make it legal. Get married. Quietly, quickly, just for appearance. Paper arrangement, nothing more. But it protects the children from gossip and me from judgment. Cole stared at her. You're proposing a marriage of convenience? I'm proposing a practical solution to a social problem. You need help through winter. I need safety and legitimacy. Marriage solves both. That's the most unromantic proposal I've ever heard. Good, because I'm not offering romance. I'm offering partnership. He laughed. Actually laughed. The sound was rusty, unused, but genuine. You're something else, Rachel Hartford. Is that a yes? It's a, let me think about it. Think fast. First, snow's coming soon, and I'd rather be married before we're snowed in. She left him on the porch, his laughter following her inside. Upstairs, she found Lottie awake, drawing by lamplight. Mama, look. She held up the paper. It was a picture of 4 people. A woman, 2 children, and a tall man. They stood in front of a house with mountains behind them. Everyone was smiling. That's beautiful, baby. Is that us? Lottie nodded. Our family. We're not exactly a family, sweetheart. We are. Lottie's voice was firm, certain. Cole fixed Sam's hands. You made him laugh. He looks at us like Pa used to look at us, before. Before Daniel got stressed and distant. Before money became more important than presents. Before everything went wrong. Do you like it here? Rachel asked. I love it here. Can we stay forever? I don't know about forever, but maybe through winter. Winter's a long time. Yes, it is. Lottie went back to her drawing, adding details. A chimney with smoke. Curtains in windows. A dog, they didn't have a dog, but children added what they wanted, not just what they had. Rachel watched her daughter and felt something she hadn't felt in 18 months. Hope. Not the desperate, clawing kind that came from having no other option, but the real kind. The kind that believed tomorrow might be better than today. Downstairs, she heard Cole come in from the porch, his boots on the floor, the sound of him banking the fire for the night. Routine sounds, home sounds. She thought about her crazy proposal. Marriage. To a man she'd known less than a week. It was insane, but no more insane than dragging her children across the country with $3 and a prayer. No more insane than asking a strange man for help in front of the whole town. She'd been doing insane things for months. This was just one more. The question was whether Cole was insane enough to say yes. She'd find out soon enough. Cole's answer came at breakfast 2 days later. Rachel was flipping Johnny cakes when he cleared his throat. Sam and Lottie were still upstairs getting dressed. About what you said. On the porch. Her hand stilled on the spatula. Yes. I thought about it. And it makes sense, practically speaking. She turned to face him. That's not an answer. Yes. He met her eyes. Yes, I'll marry you. For the winter. For appearances. For the children. Not for me. I don't know you well enough to marry you for you. The honesty stung, but she appreciated it. Fair enough. When? Today. Before I change my mind. Today. Her voice cracked. Cole, that's... You said first snow's coming. You were right. I can smell it. We go today or we wait weeks. He was right. The air had that heavy quality, that peculiar stillness that came before a storm. What about the children? Bring them. They should be there. And the town people will talk. Let them. They were already talking. At least now they'll have facts to gossip about instead of speculation. Sam appeared in the doorway. Talk about what? Rachel and Cole exchanged glances. Your mother and I are going to town today, Cole said carefully. We have business with Judge Harper. What kind of business? The marrying kind, Cole said bluntly. Your mother's agreed to become Mrs. Coleman, for practical reasons, to protect all of you from gossip and give us legal standing as a family unit. Sam's eyes went wide. You're getting married today. If that's all right with you, Cole said. Are you asking my permission? You're the man of your family. Your opinion matters. Sam looked at his mother, then at Cole, then back. Do you love each other? Rachel opened her mouth, but Cole spoke first. I respect your mother. I like having you and your sister here. Love takes time and we don't have that yet, but respect and partnership, those we've got. That's enough to build on. Pa loved Mama, Sam said quietly. And then he died and we had nothing. Maybe respect lasts longer than love. The wisdom in that statement from an 11-year-old broke Rachel's heart. Maybe it does, Cole agreed. So what do you say? Do I have your blessing? Sam straightened. Yes, sir. You do. Good. Go wake your sister. We leave in an hour. After Sam thundered upstairs, Rachel turned to Cole. That was well done. He deserved honesty. Most men wouldn't have asked his permission. Most men don't understand what it's like to be 11 and responsible for everything. I do. She studied his face. You really were alone at 12. 11. My uncle took me in at 12. The year between was... He stopped. Doesn't matter. Point is, Sam's carrying weight. I wanted him to know he's not carrying this decision. Rachel moved closer. Cole? Yeah. Thank you for seeing him. Really seeing him. Same thing you did for me. Saw past the walls to what was underneath. And what's underneath? He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. A man who's terrified he's making another mistake, but doing it anyway. The ride to Carterville was tense. Sam sat tall, protective. Lottie clutched her doll, silent. Cole drove with his jaw set. Rachel kept her hands folded in her lap to stop them from shaking. They weren't even in love. This was insane. But insanity had kept them alive this long. The town noticed their arrival immediately. Windows opened. People emerged from shops. By the time Cole stopped the wagon in front of Judge Harper's office, a crowd had gathered. Stay close, Cole muttered to the children. Judge Harper was a weathered man in his 60s, with kind eyes and a shrewd mind. He looked up from his desk when they entered. Cole Coleman, didn't expect to see you today. Need a favor, Judge. What kind? The marrying kind. Harper's eyebrows shot up. He looked at Rachel, at the children, then back at Cole. This the widow from Philadelphia. Rachel Hartford. Yes. And you want to marry her? I do. Why? The bluntness of the question hung in the air. Because it makes sense, Cole said. She needs protection. I need help. The children need stability. Marriage provides all three. That's the most unromantic reasoning I've heard in 30 years of performing ceremonies. Don't need romance, need legality. Harper turned to Rachel. Mrs. Hartford, are you being coerced? No, sir. Are you in your right mind? As much as I ever am. Do you understand that marriage is a legal contract with consequences? I understand contracts better than most, Judge. My father was a banker. Harper grunted. And the children are supportive, Rachel said firmly. The boy. Come here. Sam stepped forward, chin up. Your name? Samuel Hartford, sir. You understand what's happening here? Yes, sir. Mr. Coleman's marrying Mama, so we have legal protection and social standing. How old are you? 11, sir. And you're fine with this? Sam glanced at Cole, then back at Harper. Cole asked my permission. He didn't have to. That tells me something about the kind of man he is. So yes, sir. I'm fine with it. Harper's expression softened. You're wise for your age, boy. Had to be, sir. The judge turned to Lottie. And you, little miss, what do you think? Lottie pressed against Rachel's skirt, but said nothing. She doesn't talk much, Rachel explained. But she drew us a picture yesterday. The four of us as a family. She's happy here. Harper sat back in his chair. Cole, you sure about this? You've turned down every woman in 3 counties. Now you're marrying one you've known less than a week. I'm sure. Why? Cole looked at Rachel, really looked. Because she doesn't want to change me. She just wants to survive alongside me. That's honest. I can work with honest. Something in Rachel's chest tightened. Harper pulled out papers. All right then. Let's make this legal before you both come to your senses. The ceremony took 5 minutes. No flowers, no music. Just words and signatures and 2 witnesses Harper pulled from the street. Dorothy Chen, who looked thrilled, and Bill Harrison, who looked confused but supportive. Do you, James Coleman, take this woman? I do. Let me finish the question, Cole. Why? We both know what we're agreeing to. Harper sighed. Fine. Do you, Rachel Hartford, take this man? I do. You're both impossible. By the power vested in me by Wyoming territory, I pronounce you husband and wife. Cole, you may kiss. No need, Cole said quickly. It's tradition. We're not traditional. Rachel felt her face heat. Everyone was watching, waiting. It's fine, she said quietly. We don't need. Cole leaned down and kissed her. Brief, chaste. His lips barely brushed hers, but the contact sent electricity through her entire body. He pulled back, eyes unreadable. There, traditional enough? Harper shook his head. You two are going to have an interesting marriage. We're going to have a practical one, Cole corrected. Come on, Rachel, let's go home. Rachel. Not Mrs. Coleman, not wife. Rachel. She liked that. Outside, the crowd had grown. Dorothy Chen grabbed Rachel's arm. Oh, honey, congratulations. I knew when I saw you two together that first day. Thank you, Mrs. Chen. You'll have to come to tea. The ladies will want to meet you properly now that you're one of us. Perhaps. After we settle in. A man pushed forward. Older, rough-looking with mean eyes. Well, well. Cole Coleman finally found someone desperate enough. Cole stiffened. Move along, Brennan. That's no way to talk to your neighbor. Brennan's eyes traveled over Rachel insultingly. Philadelphia, I heard. Must have really hit hard times to marry a man like Cole. Watch your mouth, Cole said, voice dangerous. Free country. I can speak my mind. Brennan turned to Rachel. You should know what you married Mrs. Coleman. This land you're living on got water rights that should be mine. Your new husband's been stealing. I'm stealing nothing. The rights are legal and filed. For now. But laws change, and when they do, I'll have what's mine. You'll have nothing. Brennan smiled. We'll see. Nice meeting you, Mrs. Coleman. Hope you don't get too attached to that ranch. Might not be yours much longer. He walked away, leaving tension in his wake. Who was that? Rachel asked. Trouble. Cole helped her into the wagon. Jack Brennan. Owns land to the east. Been trying to claim my water rights for 5 years. Can he? Not legally, but legally doesn't always matter out here. They rode home in silence. Sam kept looking back at town like he expected pursuit. Lottie had fallen asleep against Rachel's side. Cole's jaw was tight, his hands hard on the reins. Cole. Not now. We should talk about... Not now, Rachel. She fell silent. She'd pushed enough for one day. At the ranch, Cole unhitched the wagon with sharp, angry movements. Sam hovered nearby, uncertain. Go inside, Cole said. All of you. But... inside. They obeyed. Rachel got Lottie settled for a nap, then found Sam in the kitchen. Is he angry? Sam asked. Not at us? At Brennan. At the situation. What situation? Rachel sat at the table. I don't know all of it yet, but I think we just made things more complicated. How? By giving Brennan a target. Before Cole was just a stubborn bachelor. Now he's a man with a family to protect. That makes him vulnerable. But we make him stronger too, right? More people to help. Or more people to worry about. Sam's face fell. Did we make a mistake coming here? No, baby, I don't think so. But we might have made Cole's life harder. The door banged open. Cole stood there breathing hard like he'd been running. Sam, come with me. Why? Because I'm going to teach you something important. They went to the barn. Rachel followed despite Cole's earlier dismissal. She wasn't about to let her son disappear with an angry man-husband or not. Cole pulled out a rifle. Time for a real lesson. I already know how to shoot. You know how to hit targets. Now you're going to learn how to protect your home. He set up bottles along the fence line. Brennan's not going to let this go. He sees a weakness now. You, your mother, your sister. He'll exploit it. I won't let him hurt them. I know. That's why we're doing this. Cole handed Sam the rifle. First bottle. Imagine it's a man coming for your mother. Sam's hands shook. Steady. Breathe. You're not shooting a man. You're stopping a threat. Sam fired. The bottle exploded. Good. Again. They went through all 6 bottles. Sam hit 5. Better, Cole said. But not good enough. When you're protecting someone, you don't get do-overs. Every shot counts. I understand. Do you? Cole's voice was hard. Because I need you to understand something, Sam. I married your mother today. That makes you my family now. My responsibility. And I don't take that lightly. I know. But it also makes you all targets. For men like Brennan, who'll use anything to get what they want. So you need to be ready. Not just capable ready. Do you understand the difference? Capable means I can do it. Ready means I will do it. Exactly. Cole reloaded the rifle. Your turn to set up targets. While Sam worked, Cole moved to Rachel. You shouldn't have followed us. He's my son. He's our son now. That's what marriage means. The casual way he said it sent a shock through her. Cole, I'm not angry at you, or him, or even this situation. I'm angry at myself. Why? Because I knew what Brennan was. I knew marrying you would give him ammunition. And I did it anyway because I wanted... He stopped. Wanted what? To not be alone anymore. Selfish reason to put you all in danger. It's not selfish to want connection. It is when it comes with consequences. Rachel grabbed his arm. Listen to me. We chose this. All of us. Sam gave his blessing. I proposed the arrangement. You're not forcing anything on us. You didn't know about Brennan. I know about dangerous men. My husband was killed by them. If I'd let fear of violence stop me, we'd still be in Denver starving. At least here we have a fighting chance. Cole looked at her hand on his arm, then at her face. You're not what I expected. What did you expect? Someone who needed saving. You don't need saving. You just need partnership. Is that so bad? No. His voice softened. No, it's not bad at all. Sam returned. Targets are ready. Good. Your mother's turn. What? Rachel stepped back. I don't... You live here now. You need to know how to defend it. Cole handed her the rifle. Basic stance. Remember what I showed you. She did. Muscle memory from the quick lesson he'd given her before the wedding. She raised the rifle, sighted, fired. The bottle remained intact. Don't think. Just shoot. She tried again. Miss. You're anticipating the recoil. Trust the rifle. Third shot. The bottle shattered. Better. Keep going. By the time she'd hit 4 out of 6, her shoulder ached and her ears rang. But something else had awakened. A sense of capability. Of not being helpless. You're a natural, Cole said. No, I'm motivated. There's a difference. That night, dinner was quiet. everyone exhausted from the day's events. After the children went to bed, Rachel found Cole on the porch again. "We need to talk about sleeping arrangements," she said. He tensed. "Right. I assumed separate rooms. Unless you want, separate is fine. Good even. This is business." "Business," she echoed. "Right." But standing there in the dark, the word felt hollow. They were married now, legally bound, living under one roof, raising children together. At what point did business become something else? Rachel, yes. About earlier, the kiss. Her heart hammered. What about it? I shouldn't have done it. Not like that. Not in front of everyone, like I had rights I haven't earned. The judge said it was tradition. Tradition's just peer pressure from dead people. I should have asked first. She turned to face him. Would I have said yes? I don't know. Would you? The honest answer was yes. Even though she barely knew him. Even though this was supposed to be practical. Even though she'd sworn off romance after Daniel. Yes, she would have said yes. It doesn't matter now, she said instead. It's done. That's not an answer. It's the only answer I have tonight. She went inside, leaving him in the cold. Upstairs, she found Lottie awake. Mama, are we safe here? Yes, baby. That man today, Mr. Brennan, he was mean. Yes, he was. Is he going to hurt us? Rachel wanted to lie, to promise complete safety, but she'd learned that children knew when you lied, and trust once broken was hard to rebuild. I don't know what he'll do, she said carefully. But Cole, your new papa, he's going to protect us. And we're going to protect each other. That's what families do. Are we really a family now? Legally, yes. In every other way. Rachel touched her daughter's face. We're getting there. Lottie smiled. I like getting there. After her daughter fell asleep, Rachel lay awake listening to the house. Cole's footsteps when he finally came inside, the creak of his door, the sound of boots hitting the floor. Her husband was 20 feet away, a man she'd married for practical reasons, a man who'd kissed her like it meant nothing and something simultaneously, a man who was teaching her son to be strong and her daughter to feel safe, a man who'd looked at her today and said, "Our son," like he meant it. She touched her lips where he'd kissed her. Brief contact, meaningless in its way. But her body had reacted like it was significant, like it was a promise of more. Stop it, she told herself. This is business. Protection. Winter survival. Nothing more. But her heart wasn't listening. The next morning brought the first snow. Just flurries, but it was a warning. Winter was coming, and with it, isolation. They'd be snowed in soon, dependent on each other for entertainment, companionship, survival. The thought terrified and thrilled her in equal measure. Cole was already up feeding stock. Rachel made breakfast while Sam helped him. Lottie sat at the table drawing another picture. What are you making, baby? A family tree. For school, except we don't have school. Who's on it? Lottie showed her. You, me, Sam, and Papa Cole. And our house. And the animals. And... She pointed to a small figure. Baby brother. Rachel's breath caught. Lottie, we don't have a baby brother. Not yet. But families have babies, don't they? Sometimes, but Cole and I. How did she explain a marriage of convenience to a 6-year-old? We're not planning on babies. Why not? Because babies require, she fumbled. They require time and planning and love. Yes, love. But you love Papa Cole, don't you? Did she? Rachel had no idea. She respected him, liked him, was attracted to him, though she'd never admit it. But love. That required time she didn't have, and vulnerability she couldn't afford. It's complicated, sweetheart. Grown-ups always say that when the answer is yes, but they're scared. Out of the mouths of babes. Cole and Sam returned stamping snow from their boots. It's coming down harder, Cole said. We'll need to bring in extra wood. Maybe butcher a hog. Get ready for the long haul. How long? Rachel asked. Could be snowed in for weeks once it really hits. Maybe months. Months. Her voice rose. Trapped here. That's winter in Wyoming. You didn't know. I knew it was cold. Not that we'd be prisoners. Not prisoners. Protected. The snow keeps threats out as much as it keeps us in. Threats like Brennan. Exactly. Sam looked between them. So, we're safe once the snow comes. Safer, Cole corrected. Not invincible, but yeah, winter slows everyone down. Gives us time to prepare for spring. And in spring, Rachel asked. What happens then? We'll deal with spring when it comes. That seemed to be his answer for everything. Deal with it later. Live in the now. Don't plan too far ahead because plans fell apart anyway. Rachel understood the logic, but she'd always been a planner. The uncertainty gnawed at her. After breakfast, Cole pulled her aside. About last night. What you said about sleeping arrangements. Yes. We should probably make it look real, for the children's sake. Look real, how? Move some of your things into my room. Not you, just things. Clothes, personal items, so if anyone visits, it seems legitimate. Anyone like Brennan? Or the circuit preacher, or the sheriff, or any number of people who might stop by and expect to see a real marriage. It made sense. Practical sense. But the thought of her dresses hanging next to his shirts felt intimate in a way she wasn't ready for. All right, she said. I'll move some things. Good. He hesitated. And Rachel, thank you. For what? For not making this harder than it needs to be. For understanding what this is. Business, she said. Right, business. But the word tasted like a lie. That afternoon, while Cole and Sam worked, Rachel moved a few dresses into Cole's room. The space was sparse, functional. A bed, a dresser, a chair. No decoration, no personality. She hung her dresses in his wardrobe. The sight of her brown calico next to his work shirts made her throat tight. They looked right together. She explored the room slowly. Found a daguerreotype in the drawer. A young woman, beautiful smiling. Elizabeth, probably. The one who'd left. Rachel stared at the image. This was the woman Cole had loved. The one who'd broken him. She was pretty in that delicate way men seem to like. Nothing like Rachel with her pragmatic features and work-worn hands. Find what you need, she spun. Cole stood in the doorway, face unreadable. I found this. He crossed the room and took the picture. Thought I'd burned them all. Is that Elizabeth? Yeah. She's beautiful. She was also selfish, manipulative, and shallow. But yeah, she was beautiful. He opened the window and threw the daguerreotype out into the snow. There. Gone. Cole, I don't need reminders of past mistakes. I've got enough to worry about with present ones. Am I a present mistake? He looked at her for a long moment. I don't know yet. Ask me in spring. Then he was gone, leaving her standing in his bedroom surrounded by their mixed belongings, wondering what the hell she'd gotten herself into. That night, Brennan's warning proved prophetic. They woke to the sound of breaking glass. Rachel's eyes snapped open. The sound of shattering glass echoed through the house, followed by shouting. Stay here! Cole's voice, sharp and commanding, came from somewhere close. She realized with a start that he was in her doorway, rifle in hand. Keep the children quiet. What's happening? Brennan, lock the door behind me. He was gone before she could respond. Lottie sat up, eyes wide with terror. Rachel heard Sam's door open. Mama, come here, now! Sam ran into the room. Rachel pulled both children close, her heart hammering against her ribs. More shouting from outside. Cole's voice, then another man's. The crack of gunfire. Mama, I'm scared, Lottie whispered. I know, baby. I know. Sam pulled away. I should help him. No. But I said no. Rachel gripped his arm. Your job is to protect your sister. That's what Cole needs from you right now. More gunfire, breaking wood, then silence. Terrible, stretching silence. Rachel's hands shook as she reached for the rifle Cole had made her practice with. If someone came through that door who wasn't her husband, she'd shoot. No hesitation. Footsteps on the stairs. Heavy. Slow. She raised the rifle, aiming at the door. Rachel. Cole's voice. It's me. Don't shoot. She lowered the weapon as he entered. Blood dripped from a cut above his eye. His knuckles were raw. Are you hurt? Not much. Brennan brought 2 men, threw rocks through the windows, tried to set fire to the barn. Did they? Got it out before it caught. They ran when I fired warning shots. Warning shots. Her voice rose. Cole, they attacked our home. Our home. He said it like he was testing the words. Yeah, they did. Sam stood. Let me see the barn. Make sure the animals are okay. Good thinking. Take the lantern. Don't go far. After Sam left, Cole sat heavily on the bed. Rachel found cloth and water cleaning the cut on his face. His eyes stayed on hers the whole time. This is my fault, he said. Stop. I brought you into this, made you a target. You gave us a home. There's always a price for safety. Price shouldn't be violence. Rachel pressed the cloth against his cut harder than necessary. He winced. Listen to me. I've lived with violence, real violence. My husband died bleeding in the street while men laughed. That was violence. This. She gestured to the broken window. This is just desperation, and desperate men make mistakes. What if they come back? Then we'll be ready. Cole's hand came up covering hers. You're not afraid. I'm terrified. But fear doesn't help. Action does. They stayed like that, hands touching for longer than necessary. Then Lottie whimpered, and the moment broke. Everyone stays in one room tonight, Cole said. Safer that way. Your room. It's the only one with a view of both approaches. Yeah, my room. They moved like refugees, gathering blankets and pillows. Sam returned, reporting the animals were fine, just spooked. They settled into Cole's room. Rachel and Lottie on the bed, Sam on the floor with blankets, Cole in the chair by the window with his rifle. Try to sleep, Cole said. You're not sleeping. Someone needs to keep watch. Then we'll take turns. You can't stay awake all night. Rachel, you need rest as much as we do. Wake me in 3 hours. She expected argument. Instead, he nodded. 3 hours. Rachel lay next to Lottie, staring at the ceiling. Her daughter's breathing eventually evened out, Sam's too. But sleep wouldn't come. Every creak was a footstep. Every wind gust was an intruder. You're not sleeping, Cole said quietly. Neither are you. I said I'd keep watch. And I said we'd take turns. But neither of us is actually capable of rest right now, are we? He almost smiled. No. Tell me about Brennan. Why does he hate you so much? Cole was quiet for a long moment. 5 years ago, his cattle got sick. Disease swept through his herd, killed half. He needed water for the survivors, but his creek ran dry. Drought year. Let me guess. He wanted your water. Demanded it. Said I had more than I needed, that sharing was the Christian thing to do. What did you say? That sharing wasn't the issue. His herd was infected. If they drank from my creek, they'd infect my water source. Told him no. And his cattle died. Most of them. He blames me for not helping. Says I chose water over neighbors. Did you? I chose survival, same as you would have done. Rachel thought about that. About the hard choices that came from scarcity. About how morality became complicated when resources ran thin. He's not going to stop, she said. No, he'll wait for the next opportunity, the next weakness. Then we don't give him one. Cole turned from the window. How do you propose we do that? We get help. From town. From other ranchers. We make it clear that attacking us means attacking the whole community. I've spent 10 years avoiding community. And look where that got you. Isolated. Vulnerable. An easy target. Being part of something means owing people. Means obligations. It also means backup. Support. Witnesses when someone tries to burn your barn. He rubbed his face. You're asking me to change everything about how I live. I'm asking you to adapt. For all our sakes. And if I can't... Rachel sat up carefully, not wanting to wake Lottie. Then we'll find another way. But Cole, you married me for protection and partnership. Let me partner with you on this. You've been here a week. And in that week, I've learned more about survival here than you probably want me to know. I see how you work, how you think. You're prepared for physical threats, fire weather animals. But you're not prepared for social warfare. That's where I come in. Social warfare? Brennan's not just attacking your property, he's attacking your legitimacy, your right to be here. If we let him control the narrative that you're a thief, a bad neighbor, a man who'd rather see cattle die than share, then you lose before the first shot is fired. Cole stared at her. You're talking about reputation. I'm talking about survival. Different kind than you're used to, but just as deadly. He returned his attention to the window. What do you suggest? Tomorrow we go to town. We file a complaint with the sheriff even if he is in Brennan's pocket. We let people see your cut, the broken windows, the attempted arson. We make it impossible for Brennan to claim innocence. He'll say we provoked him. Let him. People aren't stupid. They'll see a man with a new family being harassed by a bitter neighbor. We get sympathy, not judgment. I don't want sympathy. But you'll take it if it keeps us safe. The logic was unassailable. Cole knew it. Rachel could see him turning it over, looking for flaws, finding none. You're dangerous, he said finally. I'm practical. Same thing in the right circumstances. Dawn came gray and cold. The broken window let in freezing air. Rachel woke to find Cole exactly where he'd been in the chair rifle ready watching. Did you sleep at all? Some. Liar. His eyes were bloodshot, his face drawn. But there was no point arguing. I'll make breakfast, then we go to town. Rachel. We go to town, she repeated firmly. This isn't negotiable. Sam emerged from his blankets. I heard everything last night. Mama's right. We need help. You were supposed to be sleeping. Hard to sleep when people are trying to kill us. The bluntness of it startled a laugh from Cole. Fair point. Over breakfast they made plans. Sam would stay behind with Lottie and the rifle. Cole and Rachel would go to town, show their faces, tell their story. I don't want to stay behind, Sam protested. I should go, be your witness. Someone needs to protect your sister, Cole said. That's not a small job, Sam. That's the most important one. Sam straightened. You trust me with that. I do. Can you handle it? Yes, sir. Good. Lock the doors after we leave. Don't open them for anyone but us. If anyone tries to force entry, you know what to do. Sam touched the rifle. I know. Rachel knelt beside Lottie. Baby, you stay with Sam. Do what he says. We'll be back before dark. Lottie's eyes were huge. Promise? I promise. Both of you. Cole crouched down too. Both of us. You've got my word. The ride to town was tense. Cole kept scanning the horizon. Rachel kept her hands folded to hide their shaking. You're scared, Cole observed. Of course I'm scared. Someone tried to burn down our home last night. But you're going anyway. Fear doesn't excuse inaction. He glanced at her. Where'd you learn to be so brave? I'm not brave. I'm desperate. There's a difference. I don't think so. Bravery is just desperation pointed in the right direction. The town was busy for early morning. People stopped to stare as they rode in. Rachel saw the moment they noticed Cole's cut face and her pale complexion. Dorothy Chen rushed over. "Lord above, what happened?" "Accident," Cole said. Rachel cut him off. "Someone attacked the ranch last night. Broke windows, tried to start a fire." Rachel. "They threw rocks at us while we slept, while my children slept. We're here to report it." The crowd that had gathered murmured. Shock, concern, anger. Rachel saw all of it. This was what she'd hoped for. Witnesses. Support. "Who would do such a thing?" Dorothy demanded. "We have suspicions," Rachel said carefully, "but we're letting the sheriff investigate." "Sheriff's useless," someone muttered. "Brennan's bought him." "Then we'll document it anyway," Rachel said louder. "Because when the territorial governor hears about violence against families, he tends to pay attention." Cole looked at her with something like admiration. She'd just threatened to go over everyone's heads to the highest authority. Bold move, possibly stupid, but it put everyone on notice. The sheriff's office was cramped and dusty. Sheriff Wade was exactly what Rachel expected, middle-aged, soft, from easy-living, nervous eyes. "Coleman," he said without warmth. "What can I do for you?" "Report an attack. Last night around midnight. 3 men threw rocks through our windows and attempted arson on our barn." "You see these men?" "Dark masked, but I recognized the voice." "Who's—" Cole hesitated. Rachel jumped in. "We're not making accusations without proof, Sheriff. But we want it documented that our home was attacked and our lives threatened, for the record." Wade shifted uncomfortably. "I'll write it up." "Thank you. And Sheriff, we expect an investigation, real one. Because if something happens to my family and it's been documented that we sought help and received none, that reflects poorly on everyone involved." The threat was clear. Wade's face reddened. "Are you threatening me, Mrs. Coleman?" "I'm clarifying expectations. My father was a lawyer before he was a banker. I understand how investigations work and how negligence looks to territorial authorities." Wade grabbed a pen with more force than necessary. "I'll investigate." "Thoroughly," Rachel added. "Yes, ma'am. Thoroughly." Outside, Cole grabbed her elbow. "That was risky." "That was necessary. You basically accused the sheriff of corruption." "I implied the possibility of corruption if he failed to act. Different thing." Cole shook his head. "You're something else." "Is that good or bad?" "Don't know yet." They stopped at the general store for glass to replace the broken windows. Dorothy Chen was full of questions. "Is it true someone tried to burn you out?" "Yes." "And you think it was Brennan?" "I think someone with a grudge acted rashly. Brennan was in the saloon last night, drinking heavy, talking about water rights and justice." Rachel filed that information away. "Many people drink and complain. Few act on it." "True." Dorothy leaned closer. "But folks are worried. Cole's always been a loner, but now he's got a family. If Brennan's willing to attack a home with children inside, what's to stop him from going after others?" "Nothing," Rachel said quietly. "Which is why we need to stand together." "You mean organize?" "I mean look out for each other, share information, make sure isolated families aren't easy targets." Dorothy's eyes gleamed. "You're talking about a community watch." "I'm talking about neighbors being neighborly. I'll spread the word. Ladies' tea this week. You should come." Rachel wanted to refuse. She had no time for tea and gossip, but Cole's hand pressed her back. Agreement. "I'd be honored," she said. They loaded the wagon and started home. Halfway there, Cole spoke. "That was well done, back there." "Which part?" "All of it. You threatened the sheriff, rallied the community, and got yourself invited to the social circle. In one morning. Someone needed to. I couldn't have done it." "No. But that's why you married me." He looked at her fully then. "I married you because I was lonely and you were desperate. But I'm starting to think I got more than I bargained for." Regrets. Ask me in spring. His repeated refrain. Always spring. Never now. They arrived home to find Sam on the porch with the rifle. He lowered it when he recognized them. "Any trouble?" Cole asked. "No, sir. Been quiet." "Good. Let's get this glass installed before dark." They worked together, Cole and Sam replacing windows, while Rachel cleaned up broken glass and prepared dinner. Lottie helped sweeping shards into a pile. "Mama, why did those men hurt our house?" "Because they're angry and scared." "Of what?" "Of not having enough. Of Papa Cole having what they want." "But Papa Cole worked for what he has. That's not fair." "No, baby, it's not. But fairness isn't guaranteed. Safety is something we build, not something we're given." "How do we build it?" "By being strong, by being smart, by standing together." Lottie absorbed this. "Are we standing together?" "We are." "Good. I like standing together." That night, they ate dinner around the repaired windows. Cole had boarded up one that couldn't be fixed immediately. The house felt more secure, but the violation remained. "Sam," Cole said, "you did good today. Protecting your sister, keeping watch. That took courage." "I was scared the whole time." "Being scared and acting anyway, that's bravery." "You said that before, about bravery being desperation pointed right." "Your mother said that. I just agreed with it." Sam looked at Rachel with new respect. "You're smart, Mama." "I've had to be." After the children went to bed, Rachel found Cole on the porch again. Always the porch, his thinking place. "You should sleep," she said. "In a bit." "Cole, you haven't really slept in 2 days." "I'll sleep when I'm sure we're safe." "We're never going to be completely safe. That's not how life works." He turned to her. "Then what do? We live anyway. We build anyway. We trust anyway." "Trust gets you hurt." "So does isolation. Pick your poison." He laughed, bitter and short. "You don't give up, do you?" "Can't afford to." They stood in silence. The cold bit through Rachel's shawl, but she didn't move. Something was shifting between them. Had been shifting since the wedding, maybe before. The business arrangement was becoming something else. Something neither of them had planned for. "Rachel." "Yes." "Why did you really propose marriage?" "The real reason, not the practical one." She considered lying, considered deflecting, decided on honesty. "Because I was tired of being alone with the weight. Tired of making every decision by myself. Tired of being strong without support." She looked at him. "And because when you asked Sam's permission, I saw who you really were. Not the cold bachelor everyone talks about, but a man who understands responsibility and honors it." That's a lot to see in one moment. "I've gotten good at reading people quickly. Slow reads got me hurt before." "Yeah." He leaned against the porch rail. "I agreed to marriage because I looked at you and saw someone who wouldn't leave. Not because you love me, but because leaving isn't in your nature. You're a fighter. Fighters don't quit." "That's not exactly romantic." "You didn't want romance." "No," she agreed. "I wanted honesty, and that's honest." "Is it enough honesty without love?" "I don't know. Is love without honesty better?" He smiled. Actually smiled. "You always have an answer." "Not always, just frequently." The moment stretched. Rachel felt something building between them. Tension, attraction, possibility. All the things she'd sworn to avoid. "We should go inside," she said. "It's cold." "In a minute." But he didn't move, and neither did she. They stood in the freezing dark, two people trying to figure out if survival could become something more. Inside, Rachel checked on the children one last time, both sleeping soundly. Amazing how children could find peace, even after violence. Or maybe they simply trusted the adults to handle the fear. She moved to Cole's room, her room now too technically, and changed into her nightgown. Heard him come in, close the door. I'll take the floor, he said. The bed's big enough for both of us. Rachel. We're married. People expect us to share a bed. The children will notice if you're always in the chair or on the floor. This is business. Business that needs to look real. Pick a side. I'll stay on mine. He hesitated, then nodded. Left side. Fine, I'll take the right. They lay down stiff and awkward, a careful space between them. Rachel stared at the ceiling, listened to his breathing, tried to ignore the warmth radiating from his side of the bed. Rachel? Yes. Thank you. For today. For handling things I couldn't. We're partners. That's what partners do. Yeah. A pause. Good night, Mrs. Coleman. Good night, Cole. She waited for sleep. It didn't come. Every time she started to drift, she became hyper-aware of his presence, the sound of his breathing, the occasional shift of his weight, the knowledge that a man, her husband, was inches away. It had been so long since she'd shared a bed. Since Daniel died, she'd slept alone or with the children. This was different. Adult. Intimate in ways that had nothing to do with touch. You're not sleeping either, Cole said quietly. No. Want to talk? About what? Anything, everything, nothing. So they did. Lying in the dark, careful not to touch, they talked. About their childhoods. About dreams they'd abandoned. About fears they never voiced in daylight. About the strange situation they'd created. Do you think we're crazy? Rachel asked. Probably, but crazy's kept us alive this long. What happens when crazy stops working? We get sane, or we get creative, she laughed. Creative. I like that. Hours passed. Their voices got quieter, softer, defenses lowered in the dark. Rachel. I'm glad you asked that question. At the stagecoach. About wife or winter alone. Yeah. Made me think about things I'd stopped thinking about. What things? Whether alone was actually what I wanted, or just what I'd settled for. And still figuring it out. She turned her head to look at him. In the darkness, she could barely make out his profile. Take your time. I'm not going anywhere. Promise? I promise. They fell asleep like that, still on separate sides of the bed, but facing each other. The space between them smaller than it had been. Not touching, not yet, but getting closer. Outside, snow began to fall in earnest. Winter was here, and with it, the long isolation that would either break them or bind them together. The snow fell for 3 days straight. By the time it stopped, they were buried. Drifts reached the porch roof. The world beyond the ranch disappeared into white silence. Rachel woke on the 4th morning to find Cole's side of the bed empty and cold. She rose quickly, pulling on her wrapper. Found him in the kitchen, staring at the dwindling woodpile by the stove. We've got a problem. Her stomach dropped. How bad? Wood'll last maybe a week if we're careful. I need to get to the woodshed, but it's 40 feet through chest-deep snow. Can you dig? I can try, but if another storm hits before I'm done. He didn't finish. He didn't need to. Sam appeared in the doorway. I'll help. No. Papa Cole, I can dig. 2 of us will be faster. Cole looked at Rachel. She wanted to say no. Wanted to keep her son safe inside. But safety was a luxury they couldn't afford. Bundle up, she said. Both of you. They worked all morning. Rachel watched from the window, her breath fogging the glass. Cole and Sam became dark shapes in the white, shoveling, digging, creating a tunnel through the snow. Lottie pressed against her side. Will they be okay? They have to be. By noon, they'd reached the woodshed. Cole and Sam hauled armload after armload back through the tunnel. Their faces were red, their movements exhausted. But they didn't stop until the kitchen was stacked floor to ceiling. Enough for a month, Cole said, collapsing into a chair. Maybe more if we're careful. Rachel brought him coffee. Their hands touched when he took the cup. Neither pulled away immediately. "Thank you," she said. "For what?" "For keeping us alive." "That's my job now." "It's more than a job, Cole." He looked at her. Something passed between them. Acknowledgement, maybe, of the shift happening. The way business was becoming something else despite their best intentions. Sam interrupted. "Papa Cole, my hands are cold. I can't feel my fingers." Cole examined them. "Frostbite starting. Rachel, warm water. Not hot warm. We need to bring the blood back slowly." They worked together, warming Sam's hands, wrapping them in cloth. The boy bore it stoically until sensation returned. Then he gasped in pain. "Burns," he said through gritted teeth. "That's good. Means no permanent damage." Cole kept his hands steady on Sam's. "You did brave work today, son." Son. Not boy. Not Sam. Son. Rachel's throat tightened. "Does that mean I'm really yours?" Sam asked. "Not just on paper." Cole was quiet for a long moment. "I reckon it does. If you want it to mean that." "I do." Sam's voice broke. "I want a father again. A real one." "Then you've got one." They embraced, awkward and brief, but real. Rachel turned away before they could see her tears. That night, the temperature dropped brutally. They huddled in the kitchen where the stove provided warmth. Even with the fire roaring, frost formed on the windows. "This is the worst I've seen," Cole said. "And I've seen 10 winters here. How long will it last?" "Could be weeks, could be months. Wyoming winter doesn't follow schedules." Lottie shivered despite her blankets. Rachel pulled her closer. "Mama, I'm cold." "I know, baby." Cole stood. "Everyone in my room. We'll seal off the rest of the house, keep the heat concentrated." They moved like refugees again. Bedding supplies, everything they'd need crammed into one room. Cole built up the fire in the small stove he had there. The room warmed slowly. "This is cozy," Lottie said, trying to be positive. "That's one word for it," Sam muttered. But as the night wore on, the closeness became comfortable. They told stories, played word games. Cole taught Sam chess using pieces he'd carved years ago. Rachel mended by lamplight while Lottie drew pictures. "This is nice," Lottie said suddenly. "Like a real family." "We are a real family," Sam said. "Are we?" Lottie looked at Cole and Rachel. "Families love each other. Do you love each other?" The question hung in the warm air. "Love takes time," Rachel said carefully. "How much time?" "However long it takes," Cole answered. "Can't rush feelings." "But you like each other." "Yes," they said simultaneously. Lottie grinned. "That's a start." After the children slept, Rachel and Cole sat by the dying fire. "She's not wrong," Rachel said quietly. "About taking time." "No." "Do you think we'll get there?" "To love?" Cole stared into the flames. "I don't know. I thought I loved Elizabeth. Turned out I loved the idea of not being alone. There's a difference. And with me. With you." He turned to face her. "I don't know what this is. But it's not just about not being alone. It's about wanting you to be here specifically. Does that make sense?" "Yes." Her voice was barely a whisper. "It makes perfect sense." His hand found hers in the darkness. "I'm scared, Rachel." "Of what?" "Of wanting this. Of letting myself believe it could work. Of getting hurt again. I'm scared too. But Cole..." She squeezed his hand. "I think being scared together is better than being safe alone." He pulled her closer. Not quite an embrace, but near. His forehead rested against hers. "When did this stop being business?" he asked. "I think it stopped the moment you called Sam son and meant it. That obvious. To anyone paying attention. They sat like that until the fire died to embers. When they finally climbed into bed, the space between them was smaller than ever. Still not touching, but close enough to feel each other's warmth. The next week brought more storms. They were trapped in their single room, venturing out only for necessary chores. The isolation should have been maddening. Instead, it became intimate. Rachel learned that Cole hummed while he worked, that he was terrible at word games but brilliant at chess, that he had nightmares sometimes and woke gasping. Cole learned that Rachel talked in her sleep, that she had a sharp wit and sharper mind, that she was terrified of thunder but faced everything else without flinching. They learned each other. The children thrived despite the confinement. Sam grew stronger, more confident. Lottie began talking more, her selective mutism easing in the safety of their small world. "Mama," she said one morning, "I had a dream about Papa." Rachel's heart stuttered. "Which Papa?" "Both. Old Papa said goodbye and told me to be happy. New Papa Cole, he was there too. They talked." "What did they say?" "Old Papa said, 'Take care of my babies.' And Cole said, 'I will. I promise.'" Rachel's eyes burned. "That's a beautiful dream, sweetheart." It wasn't just a dream. It was real. Maybe it was. Maybe Daniel's spirit had found peace knowing his children were protected. Rachel wanted to believe that. 2 weeks into their isolation, supplies ran low. Cole assessed their food stores with a grim expression. "We're going to have to ration. How bad do 2 meals a day instead of 3? Smaller portions. Stretch everything as far as it'll go." Rachel nodded. "The children? Get normal portions. We cut ours." Cole? "Non-negotiable. Growing kids need food. We can manage on less." So they did. Rachel watched Cole give his portions to Sam when the boy wasn't looking. Watched him pretend to be full when she knew he was hungry. Her husband, and he was her husband now, in more than name, was starving himself for her children. She confronted him one night after the children slept. "You're not eating enough." "I'm fine." "You're not. I see you, Cole. I see what you're doing." "They need it more. And we need you alive. You're no good to any of us if you collapse from hunger." "I'm not going to collapse." "Eat." She pushed her saved portion toward him. "I already ate." "That's a lie." "So is 'I'm fine.' We both know how to lie for the people we love. Now eat." He stared at the food, then at her. "The people we love." She'd said it without thinking. But now, looking at him, she realized it was true. Somewhere between desperation and partnership between business and family, she'd fallen in love with Cole Coleman. "Yes," she said simply. "The people we love." He didn't eat the food. Instead, he split it carefully in half. "Together, then. We starve together or survive together." "Together," she agreed. They ate in silence, the food barely enough to satisfy but enough to sustain. When they climbed into bed that night, Cole pulled her close for the first time. No space between them. Just warmth and presence, and the beginning of something neither had planned for. "Rachel." "Yes. I love you." 3 words. Simple. Terrifying. True. "I love you too." His arms tightened around her. "When did that happen?" "I don't know. Gradually, then suddenly." "You?" "Same. I fought it. Told myself it was just proximity, just convenience. But then you threatened the sheriff, and rallied the town, and stood in this kitchen during an attack, and—" He pulled back to look at her. "You're extraordinary. I'm practical. You're both. And I'm keeping you." "Keeping me?" "Yeah. No spring expiration. No reassessment. You're mine, and I'm yours, and that's how it stays." Rachel felt tears streak down her face. "That's not very romantic." "It's honest. That's better." She kissed him then. First real kiss since the wedding. Not brief, not chaste, but deep and claiming and full of everything they hadn't said. When they broke apart, both breathless, Cole rested his forehead against hers. "We're really doing this," he said. "We really are. No going back. Wouldn't want to." They made love that night. Quiet and careful, with the children sleeping nearby, but passionate for all that. It was a claiming, a promise, a declaration that business had become something holy. Afterward, wrapped in each other, Rachel whispered, "No regrets. Not a single one. You? None. Except maybe that I didn't ask my question sooner." "What question?" "Do you want a wife or just another winter alone?" He laughed softly. "Best question anyone ever asked me." Morning brought revelation. Sam stood in the doorway staring at his parents curled together in the bed. "So it's real now," he said. "Not just for show." Rachel started to pull away, but Cole held her firm. "It's real. That okay with you?" "More than okay." Sam's grin was enormous. "Lottie owes me 5 cents. I bet her you'd fall in love before Christmas." "You bet on us." "Course. It was obvious to everyone but you two." After he left, Rachel buried her face in Cole's chest. "We were that obvious. Apparently. How embarrassing. How perfect." The storms continued, but they no longer felt trapped. The small room became a haven. They played games, told stories, dreamed about spring. Cole talked about expanding the ranch. Rachel talked about a real garden. The children talked about school and friends and normal things. "When the snow melts," Cole said one night, "we're having a real wedding, with the whole town. I want everyone to know you're mine. I'm already yours. But I want it official. Flowers, music, the whole thing. Whatever you want. I just want you. You've got me. But you deserve the rest too." Christmas came quietly. They had no gifts, no decorations, just each other. But Lottie declared it the best Christmas ever. "Because we're together," she said simply. "That's all that matters." Cole surprised them with a small carved horse for Sam, and a doll he'd been secretly working on for Lottie. For Rachel, he gave her his mother's wedding ring, simple gold worn smooth with time. "She'd want you to have it," he said, slipping it on her finger. Rachel gave him the only thing she had, a shirt she'd sewn from scraps, every stitch done with love. "It's perfect," he said, and meant it. January brought the worst storm yet. The wind howled for days. Snow piled so high they couldn't see out the windows. They were truly trapped now, cut off from everything. "Cole," Rachel said on the third day, "I'm worried." "About what?" "Food's running low. Wood's almost gone. If this storm doesn't break, it will." "How do you know?" "Because I'm not losing you. Any of you. We'll survive this." And they did. Barely. By the time the storm broke, they were down to the last of everything. But they'd survived. The day the sun finally appeared, Cole dug them out. It took hours, but eventually he broke through to the world beyond. "It's over," he shouted down. "Winter's breaking." They emerged like creatures from a burrow. The world was blinding white. But beyond the snow, Rachel could smell it, the faint hint of thaw. Spring was coming. That afternoon, riders appeared on the horizon. Bill Harrison and Pete Sawyer leading a convoy of supplies. "Figured you might need help," Bill said. "Whole town's been worried." They brought food, wood news. Brennan had tried to leave during the worst storm and gotten caught in a drift. He'd survived, but lost 3 toes to frostbite. He was in town broken and bitter, but no longer a threat. "Winter took care of what we couldn't," Pete said. Justice of a sort. Dorothy Chen had organized the supply convoy, rallying the women of Carterville. "We take care of our own," she said firmly. "And Rachel's one of us now." That night, the house felt full in the best way. The children laughed. Cole smiled. Rachel felt peace settle into her bones. "We made it," she said to Cole as they prepared for bed. "Never doubted it." "Liar, you doubted plenty." "Maybe, But I never doubted us. Not after I decided to stop fighting it. When was that? The night I called Sam's son and realized I meant it. That's when I knew I was all in. No regrets. Rachel asking me that question is becoming a bad habit. Answer it anyway. He pulled her close. I regret the time I wasted being scared. I regret not marrying you the day you stepped off that stagecoach. I regret every moment I spent alone when I could have been with you. Those regrets led you here. Then maybe they were worth it. Spring came slowly but surely. The snow melted. Green appeared. Life returned. True to his word, Cole arranged a real wedding. The whole town came. Rachel wore a dress Dorothy helped her make. Cole wore his best clothes and couldn't stop smiling. Do you, James Coleman, take this woman? I do, I did, I will, every day for the rest of my life. Judge Harper sighed. You ever going to let me finish a ceremony? Probably not. Everyone laughed, even the judge. When he pronounced them husband and wife, Cole kissed Rachel like he'd been waiting his whole life for this moment. And maybe he had. At the reception, Sam stood to give a toast. A year ago, we had nothing. Mama Lottie and me, we were alone, and scared, and running out of chances. Then Mama asked one man one question, and everything changed. So here's to asking the right questions. And here's to the man brave enough to answer. Everyone raised their glasses. Later, as the sun set and the party wound down, Rachel and Cole stood on their porch, the same porch where they'd had so many conversations, made so many decisions, fallen so slowly and completely in love. Happy? Cole asked. Extraordinarily. Even though it started as business. Especially because it started as business. We built this on honesty and respect and partnership. Love came after. That makes it stronger. Think we would have made it if we'd started with love? No. We needed to be practical first. To trust the foundation before we built the walls. He turned her to face him. I'm going to love you until the day I die, Rachel Coleman, and probably after that. Promise? Promise. She kissed him as the sun sank below the horizon. Her husband, her partner, her love. Sam and Lottie watched from the window, grinning. Told you they'd work out, Sam said. Mama always works things out, Lottie replied. She's good at finding what we need. She found us a papa. She found us a home. And that was the truest thing of all. Rachel hadn't just found shelter or safety or survival. She'd found home in a man who'd forgotten how to hope in a ranch, built for dreams that died in a life she'd never planned but couldn't imagine living without. The business arrangement had become a love story. The temporary solution had become permanent. The winter they'd survived together had forged something unbreakable. Cole pulled her closer. No more questions about regrets. Just one. What's that? Do you want a wife, Cole Coleman, or just another winter alone? He smiled that full, genuine smile she'd worked so hard to earn. I want you, Rachel. Every winter, every spring, every moment, until there are no more moments left. I want partnership and love and family and chaos and everything in between. I want us. Then you've got us, forever. Forever, he agreed. That's not nearly long enough, but it'll have to do. They went inside together, closing the door on the past and opening their arms to the future. A future built on one desperate woman's question and one lonely man's answer. A future neither had planned, but both had chosen. And in choosing each other, they'd found what they'd been searching for all along, not just survival, but life in its fullest, truest, most beautiful form.